Another programming concept that is pretty much universal is the idea of a function. A function is a few lines of code that we want to be able to trigger at any point. Functions have a name and sometimes accept values to use. We call these values arguments or parameters. Not all functions have to take arguments though, and that's what we'll start with. Functions are where we'll solve most of our problems. Building good functions is an important part of problem solving with code, but it's also a skill that takes a long time to perfect. Before we worry about perfection, we should just start with knowing what the darn thing is. Think about answering the phone. The phone rings and you answer it. You probably say something like, "Hi, this is Kenneth. Who is this?" Well, we could have an answer the phone function. And if we were a phone answering robot, every time our chest phone rang, we'd run this function to answer the phone correctly. Our programmer doesn't have to type those lines over and over again. In a wonderful bit of coincidence, triggering a function is known as calling it. So a phone call would call our answer the phone function, and we'd say hello to whomever was on the other end of the call. One thing that's really cool about Python is that functions are just another type of value, too. We can use functions almost anywhere we'd use another variable, and this lets us write some really smart code. This is a bit more of an advanced approach though, so we'll start much simpler than that. Functions can do a huge amount of work for us. We'll get to more of that later on in the course. Another thing you'll hear about a lot in programming, especially in Python, is objects. An object is another value type, but here's the fun part, all of our values are actually objects. You'll hear Python programmers say everything's an object all the time, because everything is an object. Most of the time, though, you won't care about that little implementation detail. Objects represent something with concrete attributes. Let's go back to our variable examples. I'm an object. I'm a human object, and I have attributes like my height, my weight, my eye color, and my age. Objects also have functions that belong to them. We call these functions methods, and they represent actions that the object can do. Using myself again, I would have a walk method and a teach method. Of course, humans being complicated, I'd have many other attributes and methods too. So why should you care about this? Since everything in Python is an object, everything has attributes and methods, and we'll be using these attributes and methods in this course and future courses. Using them will let us use our values in clean and appropriate ways without having to write a ton of new code for ourselves. Yes, this part of Python is often deep and requires a lot of research and learning, but once you know how to take advantage of the built-in tools, you'll find yourself writing a lot less code to accomplish a lot more work. And that, my friends, is the entire point of programming.